Good morning, folks. It's never a dull day where Arsenal's concerned. There's a lot of rumours and links, and we're buying the world. I haven't seen anybody holding an Arsenal shirt yet, but David Ornstein, courtesy of the publication he works for, The Athletic, has spoken in relation to Zubimendi. I know Arsenal fans. First things first, smash the like button. But as I was saying, I know we've been hearing about Zubimendi for a while now. Aggressively in January. We're hearing a lot of rumors yesterday, probably via the Spanish media. There was talk of the hijack and all of that. Equally, the ITKs of this world have been saying keep calm. And again, as much as I just want to see signings through the door for all the talk about Kepa and Zubimendi and Sesko and Joarez and this one and that one, I just want to see people through the door. It does make it interesting, people. So yeah, get comfortable, smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't. Let me know your thoughts on Zubimendi and anything else we cover, and make sure you're checking all the other videos. Now, naturally, David Ornstein's think piece has been condensed. He's spoken about Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Real Madrid. Now, you see the way I said Real Madrid, the transition is happening, people, in terms of being a decent news reporter, I guess. Now I'm playing. We're going to skip through non-Arsenal related matters, people. One to watch. That's great because this is the first time I've actually seen the article. David Ornstein's one to watch. There's been plenty of noise around Martin Zubimendi's future. However, the Spanish midfielder's transfer to Arsenal is regarded by the North London club as being done and signed. Real Sociedad have expressed a preference for the deal to be ratified in July for accounting purposes. David Ornstein's fellow ITK or journalist Fabrizio Romano did say in January that it's all moving along to be confirmed in July, in which at the time of making this video, it's the 10th of June. So we've got quite the wait, people. But that confirms the little isms and schisms we have heard. Zubimendi is expected to link up with Arsenal for the start of pre-season. Our Real Madrid correspondent Mario Cortenaga says sources in Madrid assert that the 15-time European champions liked the player but did not pursue or actively work on recruiting him. So then when you look at it, it seems, again, what's being reported in the papers and, getting everybody's knickers in the twist and actually what's going on in real life are very different things. By now, we all know about Zubimendi, but Arsenal are among those to keep an eye on this week, with work being carried out on a new striker, a wide attacker. Benjamin Sesko, Joarez, and Ollie Watkins have been prominent in their thoughts for the 9 role, while the likes of Nico Williams, Rodrigo, and Anthony Gordon have admirers at the Emirates Stadium as wingers. There should be some clarity on the future of Thomas Partey in coming days. The Ghana midfielder's contract expires this summer, and there's still no agreement over renewal. Should he depart, it's likely Arsenal will enter the market for a replacement. Arsenal already on course to bring in Kepa Aspirilaga from Chelsea for £5 million. So we scroll down again, big up Bournemouth of what they're doing. It's got nothing to do with us. Arsenal will pay a total of 65 million euros, in brackets 55 million, for Martin Zubimendi, which is more than his release clause, which is in the region of 51. So that says, that's, how we operate. We'll give you a bit more if you stagger the payments and make it make sense for us in the same way you want it to make sense for you lot in terms of the transfer fee and the accounting kind of thing, people. After agreeing with Real Sociedad to pay for his transfer in installments, coming to this agreement after months of negotiations enables Arsenal to avoid paying the release clause in one lump sum. As we know, Borussia Dortmund want to re-sign Jadon Sancho for a third time. Again, you would have seen Brentford's Thomas Frank being linked with Spurs, and Spurs hijack talk around Mbeumo. That's been muted. I only mentioned Mbeumo because he was looked at by Arsenal. Apparently, it will cost, United's opening bid for him is 45 million plus 10 million add-ons, which is below the value for Brentford. So yeah, Cherky seems to be going to Manchester City. So you can't help but get jealous. A couple of these players. We did want Howson. It's a myth because he's gone to Madrid now. Spare a thought for Bournemouth, man. They could lose 3 of a great back 4 or 5 if you include Kepa's gone back to Chelsea and looks to be going to Arsenal. Kirkes is probably going to end up at Liverpool. Zabani this week we've heard could be going PSG. Howson's already gone through the door. It's a reality for clubs, isn't it? It's like if you're Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, etc. Respectfully to Bournemouth is very different. But if you've got decent players, whether they're going to leave like Trent on a free transfer or Saliba, you reckon one day they reach Real Madrid in the pinnacle. It's the circle of life from a footballing perspective. We have heard about Kepa, people. We've agreed a deal to sign Kepa. Garcia seems to be going Barcelona. That one there is gone. Andrea Berta has got the Gabriel Magalhaes new contract over the line. Jorginho's terminated his contract 3 weeks early to obviously go play for Flamengo in the Club World Cup. We wish him all the best. Neto and Sterling have obviously returned back to Chelsea. Marquinhos has officially been you know, sold by Arsenal, which is probably the best bit of business. You know, I know a lot of you lot forgot he was there, but the 22-year-old has joined Carrezo for a fee in the region of £3 million with a sell-on clause. That's also been officially confirmed on Arsenal.com, by the way, just to add a bit of context behind that. We're still linked with the Joarez's, the Seskos, the Ollie Watkins, the Nico Williams, the Anthony Gordons. Of it has said once again we'd like to sign a central defender, you know, to be able to arrest Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba. We did try in January to get Victor Rice, Hodgson in summer, so it's clear we want one. If Arsenal do enter the defender market, one man on their list is Marc Guehi. The 24-year-old has a year remaining on his contract, which could make him considerably more affordable. But again, if you're Palace top bidder, can we get Eze as well? I don't know. Am I dreaming? Let me know. The issue may be whether the England international is prepared to join Arsenal, where he must compete for a place against the established pair of Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba in the World Cup year. If Arsenal and Thomas Partey fail to strike an agreement, the club may have to revisit central midfield. His contract currently expires this summer. One player attracted some interest is Reese Nelson, which is great. He's been injured, unfortunately, but it feels like his time is gone. The 25-year-old spent last season on loan with Fulham, and Marco Silva's team are interested in bringing him back to Craven Cottage if an appropriate deal can be reached, which would be good for Nelson because he's in that weird space where you're kind of at Arsenal, you're not at Arsenal. You know, if you stay at Arsenal during the summer, you've got 6 months and you might leave in January and you never quite know. You need some stability. He's currently nursing a hamstring injury. I think he got 2 last year. But Marco Silva's a great manager. Fulham are a good team. You finally, you know, prior to injury, they were liking what you was doing over there. I can't imagine we're going to get too much for Reese Nelson, but if we can get 10, 15 million quid and a sell-on clause, maybe even a potential buyback clause, if he gets close to displaying the potential that he was spoken about coming through the academy, everyone's a winner, and he's on 100 grand a week. So the quicker you flog these guys, the better. You know, it is what it is. I mean, we don't need to be told Williams or Rodrigo would suit Arsenal. They both would, but they're both going to cost an arm and a leg. Rodrigo, again, the fee's one thing, but I think Real Madrid would have to make it clear that we are selling you, or Rodrigo would have to make it clear that I'm leaving. We don't know how his conversation with Xabi Alonso's gone. I don't imagine anything's going to be resolved until after the Club World Cup. It's a difficult decision for Rodrigo to make, and we hear a lot of conflicting rumours, man, but whether it's Rafael, Nico Williams, Rodrigo, Gordon, this one, that one, some wingers that aren't necessarily looked at as that, whether they're established big money signings or like a young and upcoming one. Obviously, expectations adjusted. We clearly need attacking reinforcements in defense, in attack, apologies, up front and on the left-hand side, and those kind of things. So yeah, we know what he can do. We know Rodrigo's great with a football. We know he can play off the left where you want him to play. He can also play in the 10 up front and on the right. We know he can defend well as well. He actually puts in a shift for the side, people. So it is what it is. Jamie Gittins seems to be going to Chelsea, so we'll go away with that. Chelsea have also been linked with Mohamed Kudus like us, and they've tried to offer a swap deal. They're also linked with Nico Williams. Apparently, Nico Williams has been ruled out. So where does that leave it? Because if you believe reports today or in the last 24 hours, Bayern Munich like Nico Williams, and some say they're going to get him, some say they don't, but confliction in there. This says Chelsea are out of the race. Barcelona apparently reported to say we're not involved. I don't imagine Arsenal's interest in Nico Williams has gone away, and you'd imagine we're working on multiple deals. But one, how much energy are we giving to Nico Williams at this moment in time where, fair enough, if we assume Kepa's moving in the right direction, we assume Zubimendi's done, we're probably trying to get the Sesko one over the line. Then maybe there's this. There's also the backdrop of Zinchenko being linked with AC Milan, Nelson being linked with a move away, Marquinhos has left, Tavares has left, Jorginho's deal has been prematurely finished, Gabriel Magalhaes has signed a new deal. So there's multiple things. It's like a juggling act, isn't it? It's like I'm spinning many plates on my fingers, if that makes sense. And we have been linked with Alejandro Canacho. Any of you having any takers in that one, people? Any takers? I mean, you can't help but be jealous of Florian Wirtz. I'm just trying to make sure they haven't name dropped Arsenal at all. Although I think Arsenal fans, we'd love El Nouri. We need a left back. Wouldn't mind Rangers in central midfield with Rice, even though we've got Zubimendi now, and Ryan Cherky would be welcome at many a club. Marcus Bettinelli is apparently going to Chelsea. I mean, going to City, which again, didn't we try and get Marcus Bettinelli a few years ago to be our third choice, people? You could get Scott Carson. I know many people would say young goalies could be on the bench or be the third choice, which is true. But, you know, Carl Hein, I reckon you're sold. Tommy Setford, I reckon you could, at least in January at the very latest, you could go and get some real men's football, whether that's League Two, League One, Championship, whatever. Go and play football. I know you can train with the team and learn from the Keppers and the David Rayas, etc. But there's no substitute for playing. And I think a couple of the young keepers need to cut out on loan people. How long till we're linked with Jadon Sancho? Manchester United are still linked with Joarez people. Apparently, Ruben Amorim's very fond of his. Man United won't go away in terms of that, and apparently their financial records are a lot more healthier than need be. So it'll be interested, people. Interested. Be interesting what Newcastle do as well. I don't feel there's anything Arsenal related here. Newcastle have interest in Marc Guehi, which is we just read with Marc Guehi what's going on. Newcastle may consider for Joe Willock. I only mention that because we must have a sell-on clause for Joe Willock. And if you have any hope, people, about is Alexander Isak, Anthony Gordon, maybe even Livramento would be great at us. And Tonali, Newcastle are confident they can robust any interest. Guehi, I wouldn't say he's the most expansive passer in the world, but he's decent, as you can see there. I wouldn't be against Guehi at all, people. So that seems to be the Athletic. RB Leipzig make Benjamin Sesko request as Arsenal transfer talks escalate. Arsenal are showing interest in RB Leipzig striker Sesko, who is currently away on international duty with Sevilla. Leipzig have asked the Slovenian Football Association to omit Benjamin Sesko from their upcoming friendly against Bosnia on Tuesday ahead of a potential transfer to Arsenal. We know we've got long-standing interest in the 22-year-old. Apparently, Sesko's currently nursing a knee injury. We know he only played the final 3 minutes of the last Bundesliga game of the season. He did travel to Brazil with his team for a post-season friendly, has not played. And you're reading what I'm reading, people. It's understood that ahead of both games, Leipzig contacted the Slovenian FA to request that Sesko did not feature in either game, as the risk of injury could potentially jeopardize a transfer. Slovenia have made no promises because, in their view, their star man could still prove his fitness in time for Tuesday's game. He's set to continue his rehab. Crucially for Arsenal, we are viewed as strong favourites for Sesko. Berta has already initiated talks with Leipzig chief Marcel Schäfer, but Chelsea and Manchester United have also got the player on their shortlist. Leipzig firmly expect to sanction a sale in the coming weeks. At this stage, a deal is in the works, but is not thought to be imminent. As long as the man them are there for pre-season and their attendance is there and they're there for first day of school, who cares, man? We know we tried to sign Sesko at this point last summer and also in January of this year. We still have interest in Joarez. Clearly not going anywhere at this moment in time. On the topic of Joarez, he's said to be furious with Sporting Lisbon for performing a U-turn over his 84 million release clause. A promise is a comfort to a full gentleman's agreements, unfortunately, have no place in business unless I's have been dotted and T's have been crossed, people. This is business. And if you're Sporting, I wouldn't forgive them, but it's salary first, conscience later. When you've got Man United, Arsenal, allegedly El Hilal, Napoli, this one, that one, all sniffing around Joarez, who is it's difficult to ignore his numbers in a day and age where the striker market, it's not really flushed. Can you forgive Sporting for wanting as much money as they can? He's reportedly furious with his current club over the handling of his potential exit this summer. Has that cost him a move to Arsenal? And they said, you know what? Well, we might have changed our mind and went for Joarez, but they're acting. We've done the best part of a year or so looking at Sesko. Let's just go and get that one done. You never know. He's been linked with a move to the Premier League. Manchester United, Arsenal, and Chelsea have all been linked. He's understood to have a release clause of 100 million euros, which equates to 84 million. But he's understood to have reached a gentleman's agreement with the club at the start of the season over a reduced asking price. Apparently, he was promised he could leave Sporting this summer for a fee of 60 million euros, which equates to 51 million, plus 10 million euros in add-ons, which is 8 million. So that will take the overall transfer fee down to 59 million quid, which is, it kind of correlates because we have seen that some reports have said Joarez, some people in the footballing circles think Joarez isn't necessarily value for money and that he's being overpriced. Equally, Joarez, we've also heard with his numbers, which is difficult to ignore, he would actually cost less than Sesko. So it all depends how you look at it. According to Portuguese outlet Record, which you have to take with a pinch of salt, Sporting's board are now seeking in the region of 67 million before allowing Joarez to move on. The 27-year-old is believed to be livid with Sporting's U-turn and feels they have failed to deliver on their promise to him. And fair enough, people. Apparently, he's responded by removing any reference to Sporting on his Instagram, having also got rid of any mention of Sweden and Nike. So, Has he just updated his Instagram bio and this is just a hype? I don't know what's going on, but I've said before, I reckon Joarez ends up at Manchester United, people. Barcelona are going all in for Diaz and are no longer considering the signing of Nico Williams. Chelsea are considering adding Robert Sanchez in their bid to sign Mohamed Kudus. They're also linked with Magana of AC Milan. Apparently, West Ham wants 70 million for the Ghanaian forward, and the Blues want to bring the price down. We will go back over Mr. Kudus. El Hilal, as we know, apparently tried to sign Victor Osimhen, who's still out there, and apparently they've turned their attentions towards Sesko, but it's unclear if he wants to move to Saudi. We did hear Real Madrid are pushing hard to hijack Arsenal's deal to sign Zubimendi. I guess we'll never know until Zubimendi makes a decision. So yeah, that was from yesterday's, but you could see it. Hand of Arsenal, yeah, as you know, one of the better ITKs has been very critical, and I did cover a lot of this in a previous vid about, he's saying keep tight. Zubimendi going to be an Arsenal player, people, and said that like it's almost a legal agreement where Zubimendi and Arsenal's concerned. So yeah, and we've also seen David Ornstein highlight Madrid's interest, but also say they're not going for him. Arsenal apparently are interested in a move for Kenan Yildiz, but the Juventus teenager is expected to sign a new contract. Bayern Munich have added Bacola of PSG to their shortlist. Bacola apparently stalling over a new contract at PSG. Is this someone we should go for? I think so. Apparently, we'll make a bid for Leroy Sané. There's still no agreement where Thomas Partey is concerned. AC Milan are considering a move for Alexander Zinchenko. So we have to see what's going on there. Bayern Munich apparently have held talks with Nico Williams, and apparently Athletic Club want to extend his contract beyond 2027 and lists Bayern Munich, Arsenal, and other top European clubs involved. They want to, long story short, they want to give him more money and increase his release clause for obvious reasons. That's what you would want to do. Again, he's a dream for Bayern Munich. We'll have to see what's going on there. Once again, Barcelona have ruled out his sell. Manchester United keep calling on a daily basis over Victor Joarez, as you can see there. So it'd be interesting. And as I did say, Arsenal apparently have opened up talks with West Ham to sign Mohamed Kudus, which would be interesting. Is there any takers for Alejandro Garnacho? Chelsea and Arsenal are two Premier League clubs showing an interest in signing Garnacho from United. The sad thing is, that's probably one of the more realistic rumors. I can't see this happening. I think it'd be a bit crazy, but stranger things have happened.